guys, how's it going? Laura with Garden Answer, and Erin is with me today for this video. We decided to do a Q&A / more details about the baby video, and we're inside because it's pretty hot out. It's close to 100 degrees-ish.
About 96.
Yeah, it's really hot, and there is a forest fire burning about 100 miles away from us, and it picked up speed this morning, and it was burning, like spreading really fast, so all of a sudden our air has just been like, it's
really hazy.
Yeah, it looks
kind
like
of eerie
fog.
a little bit outside.
Yeah.
Like when the sun gets kind of yellow, orangey. I mean, it is normally yellow, but it's like kind of
it's a
weird color.
Weird look. Anyway, we decided that we should probably like stick around inside today and limit our time out there. Plus it's hot, so I'm glad to be inside.
We're gonna do a Q&A.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Q&A, but first of all, I kind of wanted to start with some baby stuff because a lot of questions were about the baby. Most asked question was whether or not we know what the baby's name is going to be.
Which we don't.
We don't. We have no idea. I am the world's worst planner ever, and it's possible we may not.
Or decision maker, not necessarily planner, but sometimes you have a tough time making decisions.
I don't think I have a tough time making decisions.
I think you do. Well, for example, what's the baby's name?
I don't know. I don't even have any options yet. Anyway, we're not the secretive type though, so once we figure it out,
you'll know.
You'll know. We'll announce it to you guys. Yeah. So the other question that we had was like theme of the nursery, and I don't really know what the theme's going to be yet. I have bought a couple of really cute things. I brought a couple down to show you. Look at this fox onesie. Isn't that the most cute thing ever? And then to go with it, these little fox shoes from Bobucks. They're little leather shoes. They're so cute. My mom and I went and did a bunch of shopping the other day. So I feel like I'm getting things set up. But that was a question that we wanted to ask you guys anyway, was how much baby stuff do you want to see on this channel? Because we have considered starting a different channel, like a Garden Answer family channel, something where we can share more of what we're doing, apart from gardening, more baby stuff, more about like the nursery. I'm going to be doing kind of like an overhaul on the room we decided to make the nursery into.
But it's tough because there's only so much time in the day, and we don't necessarily want to split our efforts on Garden Answer and detract from that channel and not put out as much content. So it's tough to decide,
So let us know in the comment section what you guys would like to see, because I know a lot of you seem to be really excited. I mean, when we put the announcement video out, we were completely overwhelmed by the amount of comments
kind of blown away, really.
Yeah, and we're receiving messages like on the daily of people, you guys being really excited, and it's just very encouraging to us. But we don't want to change the flavor of Garden Answer and change the kind of content we're putting out and making for you guys. So we just kind of wanted to get a feel from you. So leave us a comment down below and let us know.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to get to the questions. Oh, what?
I forgot. I was going to tell you some details. So I am currently 16 and a half weeks along. We were able to find out that the baby was a boy at our 14-week appointment because I actually requested an ultrasound. I wasn't scheduled for one, but we wanted to really make sure everything was going really well before we put an announcement video out.
Kind of an important thing, probably.
And I also wanted an updated ultrasound picture to show you in that video because actually the video at the very end of the video was an ultrasound video at my 10-week appointment. So that was a little bit older. I just wanted an updated picture to show you. So, and then we were able to find out. So it was really fun that we were able to know it's a boy 6 weeks before we were supposed to.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. And I didn't feel very well. May and June were really tough months for me. I don't know what or why they call it morning sickness, because I was sick from the second I got up until the second I went to bed.
And you were tired too.
I was like exhausted, and I feel a lot better now. Last couple of weeks have been good, but I'm still a little tired. And
I'm surprised we got as many videos filmed.
Sheer willpower.
Yeah,
I mean,
you did a great job, honestly. Well, and you
tough.
couldn't tell anybody why you were tired too, because it was really
feeling
early.
Puffy. Like I had to eat to make myself feel better. Like that was the only thing that helped with the nausea. So I was constantly snacking.
Yeah.
For 2 months. Anyway.
You're doing better now, though.
I'm doing better now, thankfully. Okay, so that's pretty much it about baby.
Okay, I'm going to get to the questions, and we'll go through. I'll probably pick some of the ones. There's like over 300 questions, so we're not going to get to all of them, unfortunately, but I'll get to some of them that are maybe have the most likes on them.
And I don't know if I'm going to know all the answers, so.
Yeah, so here we go. From Judy, Laura, I live in Zone 5, Toronto, Canada. Most of my patio succulents will have to come indoors. What's the best thing to do with the soil so I'm not bringing insects into the house?
Okay, so I actually did a video on this last fall. What I usually do is I line up all the plants I'm going to be bringing inside, and I kind of assembly line it. I have them all lined out. I groom them all up, like I'll trim them all down. I'll remove any dead leaves or any junk that's around the base of the plant, on top of the soil. And because I don't change all the soil in all of my plants either. But sometimes I'll scrape off just the top little layer of soil where some insect eggs can be carrying, like harboring over, and just replace just that top little layer with fresh soil. And I'll also spray them down. I went out and I got the spray. I'll spray them down with just something kind of mild. This is Earth Tone Insect Control. It's a pyrethrin base, so it's organic, and I feel like it's just a good way to, if there's anything there, it'll take care of it, and then we won't have a problem.
Next question from Steven. What is the best way to kill weeds anywhere that doesn't hurt plants or the grass?
Pull them.
Pull them out.
Yeah. Do you want me to expound on that?
I guess. I mean...
Yeah. Okay, so
pull them out.
I think there were quite a few weed questions, so I'll just tell you how we handle weeds, because Erin helps me out with that a lot. In the garden, in my flower beds, anywhere around edibles, I pull weeds with my hands. I don't use hand tools, I don't use sprays, I just pull them, and it's a lot of labor, but I don't mind doing it for the most part.
You also put down landscape fabric
I do,
in areas that you're not going to be putting bedding plants or
I use
kind
it
of
very
permanent.
sparingly.
Yeah, but in some areas, like the arborvitaes that we just planted, and right now we're putting some around our boxwoods.
Right, anywhere that I'm going to have like a permanent planting that I know is going to grow and kind of take in that area. Like the arborvitaes will take, the whole span of my 5-foot landscape fabric, so I'm not going to be planting anything else there. And I would rather have landscape fabric there than have to spray weeds. So it's same with our boxwood hedge. I'm only doing a 3-foot piece of fabric underneath those. And that way, once those boxwoods get huge or hedge gets huge, it's really hard to get under there and weed anything out. And we have morning glory or bindweed really bad. So I'm hoping to control it with that.
Yeah.
And then as far as sprays go, I have tried the organic approaches with vinegar and all that kind of thing. And it works on some stuff, but we've got some hellish weeds here.
We really do.
Yeah.
We've got some nasty weeds.
Like the big
puncture vine.
puncture vines.
Also known as goat heads. They're nasty looking.
They are. We also have white top. We have bindweed. We have spurge, which is kind of hard to handle. So in our driveway area, so just area that has gravel, I will use, and I grabbed, whoops, the lid just popped off. That's not good. That's good. This is a synthetic. It is not organic. We don't 100% organic garden. We will if we can, we have a really good solution. But this one is called Weed Free Zone. It's a 2,4-D/dicamba product. It kills weeds like that. Like you spray it on there and it kills them.
And again, that's kind of for like driveway use, like a gravel area.
Yeah, and grab the lid.
Definitely not in your vegetable garden.
No, or if I had a smaller place, honestly, I probably wouldn't use any spray. I didn't at our last house. I hand pulled all the weeds, and I don't like to have to use spray, but there's no way that we could physically keep up with the amount of weeds that grow here. We also have pasture on 2 sides of us that are just like full of weeds. And so
the wind blows everything in. There's really nothing you can do to stop that.
Right, and that's just the nature of pastures. I'm not irritated about, weeds are irritating, but it's just the nature of pastures and it happens. So this is what we use to combat that.
All right, next one I think is an easy question. I think I even know the answer.
Ooh.
From Laura says, I'd love to know how to stop my succulents from growing too tall and leggy. They all grow so fast. Too much light? I would say maybe not enough light. Maybe they're stretching toward the light. Am I right?
That is correct.
How about that?
Succulents need at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight every single day, preferably morning if you live in a really harsh climate. But if you've got them inside, I find that the more light you can give them, the better. In fact, mine are undergrow lights all day long. The lights come on at like 8 in the morning right now, and they turn off at like 9 at night. They get a lot of light.
Yeah.
They're happy.
Next question from Vanessa. I have been given a limelight hydrangea that was pot bound and not very happy. The bottom leaves are drying up but still blooming. After planting out, should I remove the blooms to encourage more energy to go to the roots and overall growth for the winter?
You could. I don't really think that that's super necessary because it's already spent the energy to get those blooms going. It formed the buds, it's blooming. Usually they just hang on to the blooms and then they'll even dry on the plant. I have a limelight that's doing the very exact exact same thing at the moment. The bottom leaves are drying. I'm just making sure to keep it really moist. I'm leaving the blooms on it. It certainly wouldn't hurt to cut off the blooms if you want. You can use them in arrangement in the house. Yeah.
Next question from Paulina. We're thinking about getting bees next spring, but just saw our neighbor spraying an insecticide on all of his plants due to Japanese beetles. That would also kill our bees, wouldn't it?
I would talk to your neighbor. I would try to, first of all, if you're going to get bees, which I think is an amazing thing to do, I've had great luck this season, I would position them as far away, like on the opposite side of your property as your neighbor, and then maybe talk to him and let him know that you have honeybees, because even if he sprays, they'll still be residual. Your bees will still be over there.
Which he may not be receptive to, because some people are kind of have a stigma against people having bees and being too close, who may have an allergy. It's probably a good idea to talk to your neighbor anyway, and let them even know that you're going to get bees ahead of time.
Consider it.
Because imagine they have a kid who's allergic or something, you wouldn't even want to start the whole bee thing.
I would, talk to him about it.
Oh, here's a good one.
Okay.
From Sarah, she says, congrats on the baby. Thank you. It's been ridiculously hot here in Portland. Feel ya. Could you please talk about watering during hot spells? My yard is big enough that I can't get the whole thing watered during the cool morning hours, and I'm constantly running around with a hose and a sprinkler or soakers.
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah, almost like that's us, our life.
It took us, until we got the boxwoods and arborvitaes planted, that was 195 pots. Until we got those in the ground and we didn't have to water them every single day, it took us over 2 hours to water. Now it takes just over an hour, just barely over an hour, so it doesn't feel as bad. But I mean, the best thing you can do is install a drip system. Honestly, if your pots are close enough together, or you've got flower beds where there's, you have access to drip line, or you can adjust a sprinkler to where it'll help you out a little bit. That's what I would do. We've been making more effort on getting drip systems to things, or drip tubing to things, and I don't know, we've had the sprinkler guy out here a lot this year. Yeah,
multiple sprinkler guys.
Yeah, last year we just kind of suffered through the summer. We had lots of dry spots, lots of plants kind of suffering, and we just thought we can't do that this year. We don't have the time, and so that was an invaluable investment. This spring we had a guy come out and he tested, troubleshot our whole entire sprinkler system. So he went through every single zone. We have 16 zones. He went through every zone, checked everything. He changed emitters. He changed sprinkler heads to where the pressure was correct, and everything has been so much better this year. So making that initial time and sometimes money investment into getting things set up right will help you. But I still do a lot of hand watering myself, so.
And I'm guessing you're living in Portland, you probably don't have a sprinkler system.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, for us, it's
so
a fact
jealous.
of life. We just have to, otherwise.
We're watering every day right now. It's been over 100 for so long.
Yeah, so sprinkler system, I mean, just try to automate whatever you can, which is tough for you in Portland because you probably only have to automate for a month or two, maybe out of the year.
And every year is probably different. You probably have a lot more mild summers. This might be just a weird one.
Yeah.
So I hope that was a helpful answer.
From Danielle, hi, Laura and Aaron. I was wondering about organic solutions for getting rid of mealybugs.
Mealybugs are the worst, but you can use this on it. What is it on, did she say?
Herbs in the garden, and I cannot seem to completely get rid of them. Yeah, sounds like herbs.
I would just keep on them with a spray, so a pyrethrin based, or you could do a neem or a spinosad. All of those things are really good. In fact, a lot of the time I will rotate what I'm using because some bugs will create an immunity and they'll kind of morph into this like this super strong bug. So I'll use different types of active ingredient pesticides. Most of them are all organic, and that way I kind of kill the entire life cycle of the bug. But mealybugs are a pain. I've dealt with them primarily on my succulents, and that's a little bit harder because you can't spray all succulents. A lot of them you have to wipe off with alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and you have to be a little selective on how you do it. So herbs will be a lot easier.
Debbie asks, you featured bobo hydrangeas a while back, and I was wondering how they're doing. I'm considering them as an outer hedge for a corner landscape area. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, sweet. You should plant those because they're amazing. In fact, Aaron took an update picture, we'll try to flash it on the screen here, of them blooming in my parents' garden. That's where we put them in. I think we planted 5.
Yeah, your dad mentioned that one of them was not doing as well as the other 4.
That's pretty good. 4 out of 5 looking amazing.
One of them, there's things that you just can't control sometimes.
One of them's looking a little bit sad, but he said it's totally going to come out of it. Sometimes they just shock a little bit, and that happens. So yeah, but bobos are gorgeous, and they don't get enormous, so they make a really nice hedge.
Chris says, my husband severely pruned my red twig dogwood bush a couple weeks ago. Not my idea. He thought he was helping. Sounds familiar. Do you know if the severe pruning might have done damage that it may not fully recover from?
On a dogwood, no.
You can probably get that. Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about your dogwood one bit. Give it water, lots of water. They like that, and it'll be totally fine. In fact, he probably just rejuvenated it.
Potentially.
We call that the rejuvenation prune, and sometimes plants need that. In fact, some of the varieties of red twig dogwood will produce even more red branches if you don't prune every year, but you prune every other year and cut it all the way down almost. Like you can cut it, that far from the ground, and then all of a sudden it'll have all this energy to produce even more beautiful branches. So he might have actually done you a solid.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Danae says, hi Laura, my question is about fertilizing perennials. I was putting liquid fertilizer on them and was told that liquid fertilizer is only for annuals. Do I fertilize on perennials or just when they are planted? All my stuff is kind of looking sad. I'm watering, just not sure what's wrong. Thanks.
A lot of my stuff is looking pretty sad right now too. I mean, going into August after a whole month of our average temperature this last month was 99 degrees.
Hot.
So you can imagine how stressed plants get. So even when you're watering them, they can look a little bit sad. But as far as fertilizer goes, you're not doing anything wrong by using a liquid. It's not going to hurt them one bit, but it's a really quick feed. It's not a slow feed. So what I typically like to do when I plant my perennials, I use a starter fertilizer. I've been using Biotone. It's from Espoma for quite a number of years now, and I really like it. And then like the next spring, I'll follow up with a plant tone or a flower tone, depending on what the plant is. And then I'll give it a little dose, and then I'll give it another dose midsummer, and they seem to do really well on that. And the organic fertilizers are slower to break down than synthetics, so I really like that. When I put it in there, I know they're getting a slow feed, they've got a lot to draw from for a few months, so it kind of eliminates the amount of times I need to fertilize too. So
I think this is a good question from Amanda. Your yard is huge and so beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Do you and your hubby work in the yard, weeding, etc., or do you have hired help? If it's just the two of you, I got to step up my game.
Oh, no. It's not just the two of us.
We get some help, for sure.
We get some help. When we first moved in last year, I thought, I got this.
Yeah.
I can do this on my own. It's not a big deal, But we have 2 acres, and it's completely landscaped. There's no area that does not have plants. Mm-hmm. So, and it's like formally landscaped. It's not like wildflower garden or whatever that you can kind of let just do its thing. It's like stuff that's a little bit more fussy, which I like formal gardens, so that's okay for me. We do a lot of work.
Vast majority of it. The things we get help for are like big planting projects. If we're planting like
especially this
100
year
of something.
Being pregnant, I have not, like Aaron has been on it. He's been helping me lift everything, bringing me ice waters all the time, like digging holes for me. So I'm going to get spoiled this summer. But
when we put the boxwoods in, we got help with that. When we put the arborvitaes in, we got help with that. Other things like we have a billion trees on our property, and so getting help.
A billion?
We have a lot of trees. Well, maybe a billion leaves.
Maybe.
It's tough to keep up on that. So those types of things that are...
Well, we have a tree service that's really reasonably priced. Mm-hmm. Like they come out and do any big tree trimming that we have, that we need done for us. They get it done fast, and it's
a lot of sprinkler work. Obviously we have kind of a professional come do that because I don't really know about sprinklers or I can change out a head.
But as far as weeding goes, I think I've done most all of it this whole year. Weeding and maintaining like perennials and things like that. My sister will come and help me here and there, and when she's here we get so much done. I love it when she comes down. She's coming down in a couple weeks, and I already know of things that I want to tackle when she's here.
Vicky says, hi Laura, how to get rid of weeds and not kill the decorative plants? I have landscape fabric down, but still get a lot of weeds. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, the type of landscape fabric you're using makes a huge difference. I would never ever use anything but DeWitt Pro. We don't work with that company. It's just a landscape fabric that I have used forever. Like nothing's getting through that stuff. It's like professional grade landscape cloth. It's a little bit more expensive, not a ton more expensive, but it's really, really good. I think you can order it online. Most garden centers should be carrying it. We do down at our garden center. As far as any areas that you don't have landscape fabric, there are some pre-emergents you can put down. There's some organic ones and some synthetic ones. The organic is like corn gluten or something like that, or corn something. Anyway, most garden centers will have that too, and they'll last for just a certain amount of weeks. They don't take care of any weeds that are currently there, so you'd want to clean up the area, weed it all, but they'll keep new ones from sprouting. So that might be helpful.
Carlene says, your grass always looks so lush ever since your first house. Can you talk about your lawn care routine?
Yeah, so at our first house, I pretty much did all the lawn care and all the garden care because it was such a little garden. Erin does all of the lawn care here. So what we do is we fertilize like in March, and then we fertilize again in May, and then we fertilize again midsummer. We fertilize quite often, like 3 times, and then we do a winterizer in the like early fall, September-ish, October-ish. And then we also apply gypsum. So gypsum is something that helps break up hard clay soils. It helps condition the soil. We have really high pH, and it helps condition it down a bit. So we do that like as often as we can, like 2 or 3 times a season, usually on the days we fertilize, don't you think? Maybe 4 times. And then we add humates. We do a soil activator is what it's called, and we do that in the spring. It's just a once a year, and so that's what the grass gets. It gets pounded with stuff. We use organics though on that. We use an Espoma organic lawn food.
Espoma lawn food.
And it is so good. My parents have been using it on their grass for as long as I can remember. It works wonders.
I noticed that when you plant, you don't loosen the root ball before you put it in the ground. Is it not necessary?
Okay, so I used to think it was necessary to always loosen the root ball when I planted things, but the more I've talked with people in the industry, growers and such, they have actually told me that it's not as necessary as we think it is. So unless that plant has obviously been kept in that can for a lot of years, you can tell when something's been in that can for a lot of time, because there'll be no loose soil. There'll be no loose soil anywhere, even on the top of the can, and those roots will just be circling. And in that case, yes, break the root system. But otherwise, if it's just kind of mildly going around and there's still loose dirt, I don't even mess with it. They say it's unnecessary. So far, I haven't seen any adverse effects from not doing that. Annuals, most of the time, no breaking up the root system, except for maybe on some annual grasses that grow a little faster. Sometimes they'll be a little bound, but that's it.
Okay, 2 more questions about the Crescent self-watering containers. Do you worry about salt buildup in the reservoir from fertilizing? Do you need to flush it out at the end of the season? Thanks for any help.
I have not even thought about that.
But we will flush it out at the end of the season. We'll drain them.
Yeah.
So at the end, it'll all go away anyway.
True. That's a good question. That didn't even dawn on me.
What is the brand mulch you use in your flower beds?
Okay, so we use a couple different kinds. We use a lot of Gardner and Bloom planting compost, as well as Whitney Farms planting compost. We kind of use them interchangeably. They're both organic. They're not a straight mulch, but they've got a lot of goodies in them. And I feel like if I'm just putting that on the top of the soil, that eventually that stuff will work its way down in the soil. And I think it's good for the plants and the health of the soil. My brother just showed up. He dropped off some sweet corn for us. Hold on. Yay, look at this. So this is Sweetness is the variety. It's a bicolor sweet corn, and it's beautiful. Look at that. So my brother grew it, and he just dropped off a half a dozen ears for us to try out. So that was really sweet of him. I didn't grow any corn this year because you guys know that our vegetable garden we didn't get it installed yet. It's still gonna happen this year, but a little late.
Last question from Logan. Would you ever make Dexter a catnip garden? It would be really cute for him to have his own little corner of the garden. He actually has one.
Agreed. Yeah, I got 3 catnip plants earlier this spring. I don't have them planted yet. But every time I'm out in the greenhouse, because he likes to follow us around when we're outside, I'll hear something. I'll be watering and I'll have my back turned to him and I'll hear something and I see him like grabbing the catnip with his teeth and he just pulls the whole plant out of
He loves it.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely loves it. So I will be planting that out. And I did see a good tip. I read it from one of you guys said to put like a hanging basket form, like the wire forms that have all the openings. So you plant your catnip and then you put that form over it so the catnip can grow out of the form and the cat can enjoy it, but it can't roll around in it and like ruin the crown of the plant.
Good idea.
So I thought that was a really good idea. I might do that.
Yeah. Be a fun video.
Yeah, so again, leave us comments down below on what your thoughts are as far as a new channel for family stuff, any other questions that you might have, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.